He saw the Cam Newton jersey and was like, well, there's only one thing I can do about this.
Dude, to get in your car and drive.
Where do you get tree poison from? How do you know?
I bet my life I'm a Diceshaker. Electric lights on a skyscraper. It's up and downs for.
When Oklahoma wins that game and wins it in the way they did, does so much for that program in that it legitimizes, number one, it's the first win in the SEC. So it finally legitimizes that, okay, when Oklahoma gets it right, when they're ready, they can compete against the best teams in the SEC. Now, whether you think Alabama is actually one of the best teams in the SEC this year, fine, that's an argument. Whatever. Going into that game, everybody thought Alabama was one of the best teams in the SEC. Oklahoma at home kicks their ass. So that's just like proof of concept, number one, for the program. So that's massive going forward for recruiting and for overall support of the program. Number two, it salvages this disaster season for Oklahoma. Number one, it makes them bowl eligible. So that continues a streak of, I think, 23 straight years of making it to a bowl game. So you have to win 6 games to be eligible for a bowl. So Oklahoma's now done that for 24 straight years. So that matters. And it is now something where heading into that game, Oklahoma had Brent Venables had just got an extension in the offseason for like 8 years, like $65 million. There was expectations that this year was going to be his best team yet. We were supposed to be competitive in the SEC and maybe make a playoff game. Obviously, disaster. Things are going bad. People are questioning whether Brent Venables is the guy. If they get beat at home by Alabama, those questions just continue as we head into the offseason. It creates a lot more tension in the program for the next 8 months. But now that they beat Alabama, they can hang their hat on that and go, listen, it was our first year in the SEC. We had one of the hardest schedules in the country. We had a ton of injuries. When we got a little bit healthy and got at home, we beat Alabama. And so that they can now recruit off that, and they can now sort of move the program forward off that win. If they go out and get trounced by LSU this weekend, and that obviously impacts it a little bit too. But that is such a fundamental thing that they can now build off of moving forward that it honestly did change the trajectory of the program from we are at best going to stay. People were saying we were going to turn into like Nebraska or trying to think of what the other one would be. But like a program where it's like, yeah, like you used to be something, but now that you've gone up in competition, like you're lucky to win 8 games in a season. You're never going to compete for a national title. You're going to have this big fan base, but it's not going to matter. That kind of thing. People are saying we're going to end up like that. And then now it's at the very least put the trajectory is like, all right, like if they get the offense coordinator figured out and get the quarterback thing figured out, whether it's Jackson Arnold stays, they bring in another guy through the transfer portal, like then Oklahoma's ready to go. Like that defense has a million guys who are about to go to the NFL. Brent Venables can clearly coach defense. So, and that's why, because that game means all of that in that one game, all of that meaning one game is why they stormed the field and why they ripped goalposts down. Now, did they storm the field a little early?
Little early.
Goalposts were out of the ground with 28 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to be fair, they're Sooners. It's what they do. It's the whole reason that they're called the Oklahoma Sooners is because back in the day when America was expanding west, they kicked the natives out, obviously. You guys got to go. Yep. And then they said, okay, starting on this day, everybody can go into Oklahoma, and it's like, just settle it. Like, find your plot of land, build a barn, that's yours. And so, I mean, it's whatever. It's 1820 or whatever it is. So it's like, once the people found out, it's like, yeah, no, you have to wait till Wednesday to do that. People are like, okay, yeah, for sure. And then people go in on Wednesday and people got houses built already.
That makes perfect sense now for what happened when they stormed the field. Because it was like, this is quick. That was
what do you mean we're gonna do right now?
Yeah, we're gonna snap the ball. It's like, no, we don't.
And they're like, that's
not really
right. And then people in Oklahoma, right? That's why they're called the Sooners. They went in too soon. And it's like, seriously, that's why they're called. Seriously. And there comes up. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And again, it's like that. The mentality is, it's like, hey, you guys broke the rules. And it's like, yeah, my house is here now, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, the rules are broken, but like, what would you like to do about the house that I have?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's basically how Oklahoma's existed, right? Even back when, Oklahoma was paying players and they were giving guys cars in the 80s and stuff because it was the mentality of like, oh, yeah, is that what the rules say? That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Anyway, we'll see you on Saturday. They just don't care. So, Oklahoma, listen, proud to be a fan of Oklahoma in that game. Haven't been proud of them all year. So that was great to see. And then obviously, listen, the Titans get their win, which is nice. I did famously on this podcast a couple weeks ago saying I'm out on Will Levis. I am still out on Will Levis, but I will say the last 2 weeks, so we'll see what he can continue to do from there. The last 2 weeks have been better. They've been good. They've been extremely volatile, which is like, I don't think I want to live this life in the long term still, where it's like the bad is still horrific. Like he threw an awful pick 6 on Sunday and like what I thought was going to cost him the game. But there was also a ton of like really good, like insane high level throws that like not many guys in the NFL can make.
I will say that was an entertaining game. One of the most entertaining games I've had following box scores.
Yeah.
Seeing 10-point
Right.
tie game.
Right.
Turn,
so listen,
turn pick.
Right. And that's like not my flavor.
No,
of
not
like
your
how,
fan.
That's not how I want to live as a fan of like the colossal ups and downs. Like the hope would be that the floor gets raised a little bit, so like the crushing mistakes aren't there as much, and we can keep like the high level plays. But listen, I don't know if that's necessarily ever going to be the case. I don't know if Will Levis is going to be the guy. I definitely don't. He's definitely not. I don't know if he's going to be the guy, but I think he's going to have to be the guy for right now. I think since they won that game, they're probably going to win 1 or 2 more before the end of the year. Not going to be in a position to take a quarterback in the top 5. I don't really want them to take a quarterback in the first round at all. I'm good on the quarterbacks in this year's draft. I'd rather them pick a good player in the top 10. Run it back with Levis next year, see what he is after another offseason, and then go from there. If he sucks again next year, then hey, we can take a quarterback after that. It's the Arch Manning draft. So we'll see how that goes. What is funny though that I noticed on Sunday when you go back and look at like the types of plays they have him doing, there was definitely a conversation amongst the coaches at some point when they were coming up with the game plan, and maybe this is what fixed it, where they were like, all right, we need to put together an NFL offensive like 80 play game plan that does not require the quarterback to ever make a decision. As soon as, I'm pretty sure they went to him in a meeting and go, hey, listen, Will, at any point in time, if you find yourself in the pocket with the ball in your hand and you start thinking, let's just get rid of it right away. Just run with it, do something. Because he took 1 million sacks. He took like 8 sacks in that game, which is funny. It is very funny, too, to watch like him play football like just like the most meathead quarterback I've ever been of. Like he's jacked and he's big and he's strong. And he just takes these shots. And just like gets right back up and like was like ready to go again, and it's like, listen, that doesn't seem sustainable in the long term at all to me. But it was, like I said, it was mildly entertaining to watch, and it's at least better than what it was at the beginning of the year, where it was just colossal mistake after colossal mistake with no upside. And then what it was when he first came back from injury, which was he was like, well, I know how I'll never make a mistake. I'll just never do anything. If I just never do anything, then I can never fuck up. Yeah. Which that obviously didn't work either. And then so at least now we're getting, like I said, we're getting the upside. We're getting the upside.
That's good.
That pick 6 was awful.
Yeah.
Like I said, as soon as he starts thinking, and again, that's maybe a credit to Brian Callahan. What we might be learning here is that Brian Callahan is maybe a good coach, because if he can get Will Levis through a full NFL game without ever having to let him truly make a decision, like everything he's doing is like, it's either like quick game stuff where it's like it's 2 seconds and throw it, you do all your like reading pre-snap, or it's like play action boot where like the read on that is basically like, all right, fake the handoff, roll yourself into some space, and then when you stop moving, you launch that ball as far as you can, and our guy's gonna come run underneath it.
Yeah. And
that's it. And it's either incomplete or it's like 60 yards. And that's it. And that's all he did. He completed like 5 or 6 of those.
Yeah.
And so again, that's how you live when you have an absolute meathead dummy at quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Listen, if that's how he's going to be, like this is what the Giants should have been doing with Daniel Jones the whole time, where it's like, all right, if he's just going to be big and dumb, then like we don't have to protect him. Like I never want to see Will Levis slide. Like, don't worry about it, pal. Lower the shoulder. Like, like, well, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, oh no, you got hurt. Like, it's okay. Like, you know, like if you're going to just be just like an absolute like brick wall back there, then it's like, all right, then guess what, Butler? You now play fullback too. Like
the amount of extra work you're asking that coaching staff to do when you're going to essentially run it like a small high school quarterback. Like you're like, hey, this is what you do. Yeah, that's insane to do
like
against
extremely
the
talented
best athletes in the world.
Yeah, it would be like if we could like teach a chimp to play quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
this is what it would be, because it would be like, man, he's pretty fast, and like, man, that ball goes far. But it's like, yeah, okay, but you're gonna have to do literally all the thinking.
Yeah.
So listen, I don't know how long term sustainable that is, but anyway, it was good to see the Titans and the Sooners play well this week. But then lost in the gambling. Like I said, below 500 in the NFL for the first time in a long time. College around 500. So not a great week gambling wise, and that's why the universe has to have balance. You cannot have it all. You cannot have. Like, I firmly believe if, like, the Titans were rolling this year, then, like, the gambling record wouldn't be that good. So it is what it is. But it was a nice switch up for that week. So we're going to take a quick break now. We're going to come back to you guys in a little bit. We're going to some college to talk about, some NFL. All right. So one of the things that we've hung our hat on this podcast, one of the things that we've prided ourselves is we've said the Diceshaker is for the people. It's always been for the people. It always will be for the people. So we've been doing this little thing of ours now for a couple of months. Thank you to everybody who's been listening, following along, messaging me, all that stuff. That's great. But one of the things that's been coming up a lot in the messages and the comments is we need props. Oh, we need parlays. Where are the parlays at? We don't have anything like that. Well, listen, that's not really the kind of thing that we've been focused on giving you guys here. But again, Diceshaker is for the people, and you guys have said you wanted props. You guys have said you wanted parlays, so we came up with a solution for you. And what we did is we partnered with the good people at Wanna Parlay. Now, what is Wanna Parlay? You guys have never heard of Wanna Parlay. That's okay. I'm about to tell you what it is. Wanna Parlay is a company that has merged daily fantasy sports with gambling. So what does that mean? How does that work? Well, I'll tell you how it works. Here's the first thing you got to do. You got to go into the App Store. You got to type in Wanna Parlay. You got to download the app. You download the app. That's awesome. Now you got to create an account. You got to create an account. When you create an account, what you want to do is you want to put in promo code DICE. That's promo code DICE, DICE. When you do that, what the fine people at Wanna Parlay are going to do is they're going to give you a deposit match up to $250. So now what that means, you take $100, you put it in Wanna Parlay, also $100 match right there. So quick math, $100 plus $100, you now have $200 in the account just by putting in promo code DICE. So you'd be an idiot not to do it. So make sure you do that. So all right, so now you got the app, your promo code DICE, you've downloaded it, deposit, Wanna Parlay match, money's in the account. Now what do? Here's what you do. You go in, you're going to pick one of their contests. They run daily contests, weekly contests, monthly contests, yearly contests. You can win a goddamn trip to the Kansas City Chiefs game if you play this right. Or you can, under one of their daily contests, whatever it is you want to do. You sign up for one of the contests. You are now going to compete against 250 people. I know you guys love to do it. You're going to go in and you're going to cook up your little parlay and you're going to submit that. And here's the thing. It's only going to cost you $2 to submit the parlay. $2 parlay to submit. There's other games, $5, $10. Let's just keep it easy. $2 parlay. We don't unit shame on this podcast. Never have unit shamed on this podcast. But $2 parlay is pretty low parlay. So you do that, right? You're going to compete with everybody. So what happens is you say your parlay hits. Great for you. You cash. You now go on the leaderboard. And the leaderboard is going to be ranked, okay, in order of who had the craziest parlay, who had the biggest odds. Top 80 get paid out. Top person, $2,000. So that's a $2 bet, right? $2 bet. Say we do a 4-leg parlay. So we do a 4-leg $2 bet. You can walk away with $2,000 on that. That's way better payout than you're ever going to get at any standard sports book. Open whatever book you want to open. Cook up your little 4-leg parlay. Put $2 down. See if your payout's going to be $2,000. It's not going to be. And look, I understand. You're going to say, well, that means I have to have the craziest odds to get $2,000. Top 80 get paid out. So either way, it's better than placing a parlay on a conventional sports book. This way, you get $2, no risk. You get to compete against a whole bunch of people. Like I said, all kinds of prizes and stuff that they do. They're giving away trips to the Chiefs games. I'm sure they're going to have a ton of other promos that we'll be able to tell you guys about. So you want to go to Wanna Parlay. You want to download the app. Promo code DICE. That's how you set it up. Again, thank you to the fine folks at Wanna Parlay for helping out the listeners of the Diceshaker Podcast, getting you the deposit match, running this operation where you guys can place a $2 parlay and win up to $2,000. So, like I said, go download Wanna Parlay. Tell them the Diceshaker sent you. All right, back to the podcast. All right, so want to take a minute to acknowledge that we are headed into the last full slate weekend of the year. It's the last regular season Saturday of college football. We do get conference championship Saturday. We do have playoff games left, so there's still lots of standalone games left. Conference championship Saturday is still a great day, but this is the last full slate, a million bullets flying, action everywhere type of game. And I don't know, man. It might be me getting older. It might just be how many times I've done this. But like this season went by so fast. I can't believe it's week 14 already. But with week 14 does come rivalry games. So thing I've said often throughout the course of this year is that college football games can be good based on two things. They can either be good because the teams are good, or they can be good because the teams hate each other. This week, we have a lot of games between teams that aren't necessarily good, but boy, do they hate each other. So, Friday. Let's start with Friday. Friday, we get the Egg Bowl, which is Mississippi State. Both of their seasons are over. Neither one can make the playoffs. But true hatred, true hatred in that one. Underrated hatred because it's Mississippi and nobody cares. Mm-hmm. But like, so that's why it's because it's like if you lose that game, like everybody hates Mississippi in general. Like it sucks there. And then if you lose the Mississippi State, you're now the worst team in Mississippi. So it's like that's you know what I'm saying? It's like you're really trying to stay out of hell there. So that's where that hatred comes from. Of like you have to be better than somebody. And so Ole Miss probably going to, I think they're 29.5-point favorites in that game. So Ole Miss is probably going to stomp them. But there will be some good hatred there. And then Saturday is where we get into it. So Saturday at noon, we get Ohio State, Michigan. Maybe the best rivalry in college football. Maybe the best rivalry in sports. Ohio State lost to Michigan 3 straight times. Obviously, Michigan national championship last year. Ohio State needs this one so bad. If Ohio State manages to lose, they're like 20-point favorites. So if they manage to lose this game, their coach is getting fired. Ryan Day's getting fired. He's probably getting fired in the stadium. He probably won't make it off the field. And they will have to dismantle that program in a serious way and make large changes, because that would mean that Michigan has beat them 4 times in a row. Michigan just paid $14 million to Bryce Underwood, who's this quarterback prospect. They're calling him the best prospect since Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. So Michigan just got him. So if Ohio State's like, all right, well, we didn't get him. Michigan's terrible this year. We didn't get him there. We lost him the past 3 years. And they got Cam Newton showing up next year. Like, how are we pulling? What are we doing? And Ohio State can't have that. So I think Ohio State's going to win this game. I think they're going to definitely try to run up the score if they can. But there'll be a lot of hatred in that game either way. Then we go to 3:30, Auburn, Alabama. Iron Bowl. If Ohio State, Michigan isn't the best rivalry in college football, the Iron Bowl is. You probably never heard this story, it'll be fun. You ever heard of a man called Harvey Updyke?
No.
All right, so Harvey Updyke was an Alabama fan, still is an Alabama fan, I think he's still alive, so in 2010, Cam Newton again, was at Auburn. They were losing to Alabama, I think 28-0. And then what happened next, they called the Cam back, where Cam brought them all the way back in the second half, and I believe they won the game 35-28. And then at the end of the game, there's a statue outside Alabama Stadium of Bear Bryant, their legendary coach. They put a Cam Newton jersey on the statue as they were leaving, which is, that first of all, it just seems hard to do. That's sick. So this crazy person, Harvey Updyke, Alabama fan, he saw the Cam Newton jersey, Scam Newton as Alabama calls him. Mm-hmm. Saw the jersey. Drove to Auburn's campus. On Auburn's campus, they have these trees called Toomer's Trees, and it's at this place called Toomer's Corner on campus. And when something good happens at Auburn, they win a big game, they go what they call roll the trees, which is literally they throw toilet paper all over these trees, and they just, that's their thing. That's what they do. They roll the trees. And so this Harvey Updyke psycho saw the Cam Newton jersey, drove up to Auburn, injected the trees with poison to kill them, and then got on the most popular college football talk show in the States at the time called Paul Feinbaum and told him what he did. And he just goes silent on the call, and you can hear somebody a producer in the back go I think that's illegal. And it for sure is. That dude went to jail. And when they asked him,
he actually went to jail?
Oh yeah, for sure. And when they asked him why he did it, his quote in the court documents is, "I had too much Bama in me." These people hate each other.
How long did he go to jail for?
A couple of years, I think. That's why he was old, so I think he might have died in jail maybe or something.
No way.
Bro, you can't do that. You can't go.
No, I know you can't just
it's
kill
trees. University, bro. They were the press conference they had these the horticulturists, whatever, the tree doctors, in lab coats coming up and giving a press conference, and they're like, it is clear, the trees aren't dead, but it is clear that they are going to die. We're mourning it. They were so sad about these trees dying.
That's sick that he won though.
Well, he did. Well, yeah,
he went out right. That's good.
That's what I get. He saw the Cam Newton jersey and was like, well, there's only one thing I can do about this.
Dude, to get in your car and drive.
Where do you get tree poison from? How do you know?
I mean, if you're crazy enough if you're crazy enough to drive there, you're gonna figure that out.
And then call like the radio station of like Paul Feinbaum is huge. Like everybody in the South listens to Paul Feinbaum. It's like, and especially in Alabama, and he does the like, well, you know what I did? I drove up there, Auburn, Alabama. I injected those trees. And Paul's like, what'd you do? He's like, I injected them with poison. I'm like, are the trees gonna die? They're gonna. and then you hear the. This is the best. And then you hear the producer in the bitch's side of the producer back is like, I think that's illegal. And it is. You can't do that shit. So anyways, that's the Iron Bowl. Listen, Alabama obviously got their asses handed to them in Norman, Oklahoma on Saturday. Auburn's been bad all year. If Alabama loses this game, their coach needs to get his family out of town. I'm dead serious. Alabama is not a place you can mess around and lose 4 games, one of them being to Auburn, and think they're not going to put bricks through your window, brother. They're going to put, you're not Nick Saban. You are not Nick Saban. And listen, if Saban did this, it'd be getting hot for him. You are not Nick Saban. They do not tolerate that at Alabama. It's like Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma. That might be the top 3 in terms of like it not that it matters lots of places, but that's the place where it's like, no, the standard is high as hell, and there's no world we're accepting anything underneath that. We don't care how unrealistic the expectations are.
Yep.
Like, it is what it is. We play for national championships every year. They want to be good so bad that like Alabama's not that place. And then Auburn, like I said, they're playing for hatred. They're not very good. They're kind of eyeing up next year as their year to sort of they're going to spend a bunch of money in the transfer portal this year, try to get them a quarterback and then go for it next year. But like I said, nothing would make them happier than beating Alabama. And if they were like, they would brag about it. They'd be like, hey, remember when we got the Alabama coach's house burnt down? That was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They would really.
I mean, that's insane again, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, they would. Sure. But like, they would take it as a point of pride. It's like, hey, listen, that season sucked. We didn't make a bowl game. But remember when they burned Kalen DeBoer's house down? That was pretty fun. All right, wasn't all bad. So that's that one. And then at night at 7:30, we get Texas A&M. Texas and Texas A&M it's an interesting one because Texas A&M hates Texas, hates them. The passion, because they're little brother, right? And then Texas, it's kind of like that Mad Men theme, where it's like, you know, I don't think about you at all. That meme. The guy's in the elevator, yeah. And he's like something about like, I don't know what the other guy says to him, but he's like, he's whatever. He's like, I think you're like a piece of shit. And then the Mad Men guy looks back and he's like, I don't think about you at all. And that's how it is. Yeah, that's how it is with it's like A&M's like, fuck you. And Texas is like, we don't care about you at all. Like, not enough. Now Texas cares about Texas A&M because Texas A&M, like the Johnny Manziel years, like they got good, right? Like and so Texas A&M's whole thing, they realized that the best way for them to stop being little brother to Texas was they left the Big 12 10 years ago, more than 10, 14 years ago now, joined the SEC and said, we're going to be the Texas team in the SEC. Well, that's great. Up until a couple years ago when Texas and Oklahoma, and now it's like, hey, we're coming to the SEC. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the SEC was for it. A&M was like, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. That can't happen. And now Texas is just showing up like, what's up? We're here. And so the winner of this game goes to the SEC championship game and likely the playoff. If game has not happened since Texas A&M left the conference, so 14 years of trash talk and jealousy and bitterness and just freaks living in the boonies in Texas where the football is it cannot get more important than football in Texas. Mm-hmm. And it's going to culminate on a Saturday night, an American Thanksgiving weekend when all of these people have been off work since Wednesday. That will be the loudest, drunkest, angriest crowd I think maybe we've ever seen in college football. Like, I don't know what the security plans are for that place, but like everybody's got a gun.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Everybody's got a gun.
We can't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can't carry into the game.
I don't know. Can you not? It's Texas. Do you know for sure you can't?
I don't know.
Listen,
for sure.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know.
I know that's kind of a bit. I get that, but like, there's no way.
Here's what I know. There better be somebody in that stadium with a gun.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Somebody better have one.
There's going to be a lot of people with guns, for sure. Just the right people.
Because it's going to get out of hand. if that game is anywhere near close, and we get like Texas threw the water bottles on the field when they were getting their ass beat by Georgia, and the call went against them. Mm-hmm. Texas A&M, if this hinges on like look crowd like it can get. Listen, it'll be 110,000 people who have been wanting this game to happen for the past 15 years. There will be people. I guarantee there are old people who are going to be like, all right, like after Saturday, I can die. It's fine. I needed to see Texas play Texas A&M again. So that's what we got. That's the full slate that we have on Saturday. Those are the 3 games, all fueled by hatred. And none of them.
This is exactly what you've been preaching all year.
None of them are particularly good games on paper, but I can't wait for every single one of them because, again, that thing that college football gives you, that no other sport, and certainly the NFL doesn't give you, is we will do this purely for hatred.
Yeah.
We will line it up on a Saturday. 100,000 people in the stands, and the only reason we're here, nobody's got a hope of playing the next weekend. Nobody's winning the national championship. The only reason we're here is because I hate you and you hate me. And we got to figure this out one day per year. We settle it.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then if you lose, you got to sit there for 364 days and be like, I can't believe this. So that's what we got Saturday in college football. Now, before we get to those games on Saturday, it is obviously American Thanksgiving this week, which means we have 3 Thursday NFL games.
Yes.
Now, thing we do around here on Thursdays, for those of you who don't know, those of you haven't been following along, is we needle thread. Parlay the side, parlay with the total, same game parlay, both have to cash to do it. It is not an amateur bet. It is not for newbies. They are hard to hit, as we've seen this year. It's been a tough year for the needle threads. But people have been asking, well, it's Thursday, so which game are you going to needle thread? Which game are you going to needle thread? We're going to needle thread all 3.
Dude, I didn't even know this coming in. I was hoping you were going to say that, Jordan. That gets me excited.
Yeah. 3 needle threads on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving needle threads. Thursday night, Thanksgiving needle threads. That's actually a great way to go about it, even though the games do happen all day. So we're going to go through all the Thanksgiving games, and I'll give you. Oh no! Don't contact sport. I will give you the needle thread for each and every one of them. All right, sorry guys, gotta get this going.
This excites me so much, man.
All right,
I love degenerate gambling like this.
All right, so let's start. We'll start with the first game. So noon, 12:30 on Thursday. We got the Bears at the Lions. The Lions always playing on Thanksgiving. Very, very, very big tradition for them. Always have this game going. So that crowd will be crazy. You think Lions fans aren't getting drunk at noon on Thanksgiving? You're wrong. They are. It is right now Bears plus 10.5. Total is at 48.5. I'm taking the Bears plus the points, and we are going with over 48.5. Touched on it a little bit earlier. If you listen to the Wanna Parlay pick of the week, the Bears' offense has gotten better the last couple of weeks since they fired Shane Waldron. They seem to be doing things in a more efficient way, making things easier for themselves by putting guys in better positions and getting Caleb Williams easier plays to make, which has worked fairly well for them in the last couple of weeks. The Lions do have a good defense, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But the way I see it is if the Lions' defense shows up and they're getting a bunch of stops, that means their offense is probably scoring like 35 points.
Yeah.
You know, like it's really not possible to give the Lions a bunch of possessions and have them not score a ton of points unless you get like the Jared Goff 5-pick game.
Yeah.
But even then, they scored 26.
Yeah,
that total in that game was 26-23. It went over. So, so we're over 48.5, and then we're taking the Bears because I believe in that offense enough to keep it relatively close with the Lions. And I think on a short week, if there was ever a week where the Lions were going to just mentally let off the gas a little bit, it might be this one. So I just don't want to lay 10.5 with a Lions team that, like, if the Sharps thought the Lions were going to roll like they've been rolling, this line would be like 13, you know, but it's 10. So that to me seems to think that the smart money is on the Lions, not outright blowing the Bears out. So I think the Bears hang, and I think we get some points. So give me that one. That's the first needle thread. Plus, you always want to start with an over if we're going to do 3 needle threads. The next one, the worst Thanksgiving game in the history of the sport. Giants, Cowboys.
Disgusting.
First of all, I thought we were going to get, it was supposed to be Tommy DeVito, Cooper Rush. Tommy DeVito is now less than 100% according to Brian Dable. So it might be Drew Lock. which would be, listen, low-key sick. Drew Lock, for those of you who don't know, is sick. He's not good, but he's sick.
Sick dude.
He's sick. Check the celebrations. They're awesome. He rapped Jeezy on the sideline. Nobody around, by the way, when he was doing it. He wasn't doing it for anybody.
Just doing it for
He was just
himself,
by himself and like full on like doing the hand motions and like every word and like getting into it. And it's like he didn't know the camera was on him. There was nobody around him. It was just like, no, Drew Lock just loves Young Jeezy. And it's like, that's sick. So it might be Drew Lock. It's probably going to be Cooper Rush. Jerry Jones did have the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible, which would have been sign Daniel Jones as a free agent and start him. That would have been amazing.
Yep.
But didn't do it. So whatever. Tried to save Thanksgiving there, Jerry, but could have done it. Didn't do it. So game wise, what do we think? I think the Giants have full on quit. I think we saw that this past week against the Bucs. Baker took him to the woodshed. Rumors came out after the game that Dable was going to get fired. He hasn't, as of recording this on Tuesday, which probably means he's not this week. Doesn't mean he's not next week. I think they just seem like a franchise that obviously with the Daniel Jones thing, they just seem complete on a complete rebuild, like a complete blowing it up. There's only a handful of good players on the, Neighbors is good, but he's super young, so you're okay there. Mm-hmm. Evan Neal's good, the right tackle. Andrew Thomas is hurt, the left tackle. He's good though, but all those guys are young. And then Dexter Lawrence is excellent. I love Dexter Lawrence. I hope they look at trading him. But like nothing to really stop them from just going full on rebuild. The people who are saying it's going to be draft Shedeur Sanders and hire Deion Sanders, those people have a fundamental misunderstanding of who owns the New York Giants and what they're about. We don't want to get into it here. I'm not going to start. Look up the Maras, look up what they're into, and you guys let me know if you think Deion Sanders fits in with what they're looking for. It does not. Ask Geno Smith how it went for him in New York. That's not happening. But I do think they're going full blow up, full rebuild. Obviously, it seems like the team kind of quit on them. They didn't like. A lot of guys came out in the media and talking shit about the Dan Jones thing. Malik Neighbors in the press conference after the game, being like, "I started getting the ball when we were down by 30 points. What do you want me to do?" Like, ask Dable about it, kind of thing. So like, just tension in that locker room. They seem like they quit. Whereas the Cowboys looked like they had a little fight to them last week. Went out there, beat the Commanders, 10-point dogs, go out, win outright. Cooper Rush is like the definition of like average backup.
Yep.
Like not gonna, him, Mason Rudolph is like this as well, where it's like, well, I just know exactly what I'm gonna get. It's not gonna be great.
Yeah.
But it's like if we play some defense and run the football, it's like we might beat somebody.
Yeah.
Cowboys at home again, as they always are on Thanksgiving. I'm laying 3.5 with the Cowboys, just because again, I like. Who knows what the quarterback situation is for the Giants? I like Dable as a coach. Honestly, I think he got dealt like a shitty hand in New York, and I think he'll bounce back. He'll be fine. But he probably knows that if they lose this game, he's getting fired on Friday. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Honestly,
I was gonna say, do you think he wants to be there?
Probably not. Yeah, probably not. And so that seems like a locker room full of dudes who don't want to be there. Yeah. Versus a Cowboys team who, listen, they showed a little bit of fight last week. They can, they're not a young team really at all. So it's not like they can just be like, whatever, we're blowing it up and rebuilding. I'm not even going to be here next year. It's like they kind of know it's like, hey, this is the tent poles of what this team is going to be moving forward.
I feel like Cooper Rush also would like to have a good game. Just like, give him another backup spot. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't want to. Well, that's the thing. You don't want to. That's the thing with Cooper Rush, and this is something that like the true great backups really master. Is like, you want to do that. You don't want to be too good though, Cooper, because then somebody's gonna fuck around and make you start.
You think he is that? He's that lifetime backup. Where he likes the lifestyle.
Well, like, listen,
right?
I don't even know. It doesn't even necessarily come down to like if you like the lifestyle, but it's like the Sam Bradford thing, right? Like Sam Bradford, Oklahoma guy, #1 overall pick. Love Sam Bradford to death. One of the reasons I became an Oklahoma fan. He was never that good in the NFL, but like he just had it on him that like, no, he's supposed to be a starter. He's supposed to be a starter. He's supposed to be a starter. And so his career just didn't last that long. Mm-hmm. Whereas like if you can just be the backup guy, and it's like Chase Daniel was like that. Blake Bortles got it going a little bit too, where it's like, listen, it's like the expectations are so low that it's like if you just kind of show up every day and like don't Nathan Peterman it, don't throw a million picks as soon as you get in the game, then like you play in the league for like 14, 15 years, make a lot of money. Yeah. So Cooper Rush, you need to. It's like again, he's just built to be a backup. If he starts thinking, I'm like, no, I'm the man, and that's what we'll get that out of Drew Lock. Right, Cooper, and that's just like the maturity levels. Cooper Rush knows what he is. Yeah, and he's like, I'm not out here doing too much. Whereas Drew Lock, like in his head, is like, I don't understand why people look at Mahomes and don't see. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
in his head, like he just gets more chances. That's in his mind, right? So, And again, I encourage it. I would love a full-on, take me back to Missouri, put on the fucking thing, like do the whole Drew Lock experience. We need something in this game.
Yes.
This total is at 37.5. So I'm going Cowboys minus 3.5, over 37.5, simply because I need some. It's the middle of the day on a Thursday. I either need the Cooper Rush game, or I need the Drew Lock game, or maybe Tommy DeVito does play and we get the Tommy DeVito game. Like, we need something to make this happen. I gotta cheer for points in this game. So give me the Cowboys over 37.5. Also, I just think the Giants defense is very bad. And then the night game, the fun one, Dolphins Packers.
Yes.
In Green Bay at night in the cold. Big test for the Dolphins. Are the Dolphins a candy-ass organization? Can they play in the cold? We will find out. Tua, after the game last week, is like, I'm looking forward to smashing narraratives. Let's just hope you walk away from this one, brother.
I agree. I hope so.
Let's just hope you walk away from this one. So the line right now is 3.5. Dolphins getting the points there. 47.5 is the total. Tough one because it's like, I have it in my head that the Dolphins are undervalued right now because people remember how bad they were when Tua was out and haven't adjusted to what they are now that he's back. They just played a great game against the Patriots. But they have literally never gone and won a cold road game before. And I literally don't know if they could do it. I don't know if that style of play, that offense, that's so based on timing and speed, works on cold grass at night in Green Bay.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it work, so it's hard to back the Dolphins there. It's also hard to lay it with the Packers though, because we don't know what we're gonna get out of them on offense. We don't know what Jordan Love's health is right now. We know he's not 100%. They haven't looked. They beat the shit out of the Niners on Sunday, but I think that's got more to do with the Niners.
I agree with you on
than
that,
it does the Packers. Like, the Niners just kind of rolled over and died in that one. So it's like, are we going to trust them to cover 3.5 on a short week against an offense that theoretically can score? That's tough. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Dolphins plus 3.5, under 47.5. We're going to bank on the Packers defense being good, keeping the Dolphins in check. We're going to bank on Jordan Love not being 100%, Packers looking to run the ball. This game, I think, shakes out to be, 24-21, something like that. In a tight game, I would rather have the points. And listen, we need one good game. We have a spread.
Just got to go 1 for 3, right?
We have a spread at, first of all, yes. We have a spread at 10.5 in the first game. The second game has a total of 37.5. We are owed a good game in this night game. So I'm thinking close battle, classic, kind of end of the year Detroit game or Green Bay game that in the cold weather. So give me tight, give me the Dolphins. I could look like an idiot for backing a candy ass team in the cold, but that's what it's going to be. So that's it. That's your 3 needle threads. There is a game Friday. I already gave out that pick for that as well. We're on the under in Chiefs Raiders. You can go back and listen to the Wanna Parlay ad if you want the breakdown on that, and then we'll do the full card at normal times like we normally do. So to the American listeners, have a good Thanksgiving. Appreciate you guys for listening and reaching out. Like I said, check out Wanna Parlay, and we'll be back to you guys next week. Thank you. Electric lights on a skyscraper. It's up and down.